Right, another catch up, and with the elation of getting in fish show, I felt like it's a relief in it. You want in one, that's sort of your season. It's justified. I mean, that's the target. Get in one big final. We were all happy. So next up, what was I doing next? Yeah, the Wednesday I'd gone to fish show at Western Pool, stuck in that one. Next up was Golden Reel. Golden Reel at Woodland View. I love Woodland View. One of my favourite venues, that one. I love it there. There's just so many fish, but not a but it seems it's a different venue these days, like really different. I mean, A's changed things a lot, and it's a lot of F1 fishing. I mean, it's gone of the patient, trappy, carp setting days of old where you were mugging them and catching them in the edge. I mean, that obviously still happens, but there's a billion F1s in all the lakes now to catch as well, which, I mean, brings another element of fishing to it. So, anyway, rocked up there, a load of casters and all that for an F1 onslaught. But drew a bit of a weird one. I drew, I'm going to say 58. I'm sure I was on 58. 58 on back Deans, which I didn't fancy. We were on front and back Deans and high pool, half of high pool. I really did want a day on high pool. I'd been on there on a Maver. Yeah, Maver earlier in the year. And I knew how good it was. There's a lot of F1s in high pool, so I really, really fancied that. But wasn't lucky enough to get on there. 58 on back Deans. Still, you never know. And I had a bit of room as well. 60 wasn't drawn, so I had a little bit of space, although it was quite tight. And yeah, I'm not even going to go into this one too much because it was I caught nothing. I did everything wrong and I caught nothing, and I even packed up early. But what have I done? I've started short, caught nothing. Gone shallow, caught nothing, even though there's carp everywhere. But they were in that, I think they were either about to or just had spawned, and they were in that whizzy mood when they're just not. They were horrible, not playing one bit. And I've just ticked over all day. I've caught an odd F1 shallow in my casters. I've caught an odd F1 and skimmer on the deck, but just nothing. I probably had £40, if that. No, probably £40. I jumped back with an hour to go. I didn't tip back. Started packing everything up. Sat and made rigs, actually, last half hour, just to make sure everything was as good as I could get it. I didn't want to let my fish go because people were catching, so last thing I'm going to do is that. But anyway, who won that one? Aid won that one. Aid Mansfield, Matrix lad. He won off peg 6 on high pool. High pool was the one to be on. It was top 3 of the match. Aid, Matty and Trig, they were all together on 4, 6 and 8. They were top 3 in the match. We're not in the ballpark of catching £200, which all of them did. I think Aid had 250, so there wasn't another peg capable of catching that, I don't think. But anyway, well done to them. After that, what were we on? Oh, weird one, because I'd got in fish show, so I didn't know what to do with myself. I was meant to be at Makins on the Wednesday, and I had a busy whole week as well. This is actually that week, a very busy week I've had. But I thought there was a Maver at Messingham. I thought I fancy a bit of that. I proper like Messingham. I mean, back in the day, I hated it because I used to draw on Island Pool and they used to smash me to bits because it used to be an angry lake with old trees. But George, who's took over it now, has done a mega job in sorting the fishery out, and it's right good. But I've drawn off site. I've drawn on, I think it's called Hollywood Bowl. They call it the bowl, but I'm sure it's Hollywood Bowl. Don't know, but off site. And I drew on that last time I went as well, and I felt I got it really wrong. I fished casters shallow last time and a feeder and never settled, caught the wrong fish. Whereas this time I thought, if I draw on there, I'm just going to fish pellets for carp. I'm going to fish my match. It's full of carp like this. I thought, I'm just going to fish pellets for carp, and that's where I drew. I drew on the bowl, as they call it. What is it? There's Hollywood Bowl, Hollywood Strip, and Island Pool. That's what was in. Yeah, 50 odd on match. We were on them 3. So drew on the bowl, drew 63 on the bowl. 65 was the end peg. Because then from 65 or from 67, I'm going to say, it's new. He's must be over the winter or last year, whenever. They've elongated the lake. I think they're going to carry it round eventually, but they didn't peg the new bit. So I'm second to end peg in. It's fella to me right, but I'm second. And gone with dead simple approach. Set up 2 rods just in case I was having a bad match to fish little meth feeders across. And other than that, I literally wanted to fish pellets on my top kit in 1. And then down the edge, I was going to fish micros and corn as well. That was literally my day. The only other thing I was going to do is swap my short line to meat, which I did later on, but we'll talk about that. Started on top kit, brilliant. It's quite deep there. It's probably like 4.5 foot. Excuse me. 4.5 foot with top kit. Caught really well on that. I had like 10 fish on that in the first 20 minutes. All sorts, probably like 10 or 15 pounds. Then I've got another section, caught really well on that, probably caught another 20 pound in the next half hour. Was loving it. Then it fizzled like my short line did, and I thought, that's weird. But I came closer in again, even though I wasn't getting liners, and I got another run of 3. I thought, that's sort of the match you can fish then. So I spent a long time just skipping about, catching 2 short, going one more section, catching 2, skipping between the 2, and it was really good. And I fed my edge after about an hour and a half, just because I felt there's fish close here, I can do this. Fed my edge, had about 5 casts on a feeder just to rest things, caught a couple on that, but it's great, you can get bites on a feeder and you would catch a big weight, 100 plus, but it's scatty and I never felt I was going to catch fast. I mean, and I felt like everyone's catching around me, which they were. Everyone was catching plenty of fish. So came back in short and just concentrated on these 2 lines for another hour. And then finally they started showing themselves in my edge. So I spent 2 hours pretty much short, probably got 60 pounds, 65 pounds after a couple of hours, really, really happy. And then I've gone down my edge and the first 3 or 4 were scatty and it was horrible. And I thought, I'm going to have a nightmare here because there was an odd like stick sticking out. The fish were moody. I couldn't find a bit that I was getting bites on the bottom. So I hooked one, pulled out of it, smashed on my rig as well. I was like, oh, right, I'm going to bin down the edge. I thought, no, bodged it, put a new rig on, replumbed up, found a little piece about that big that was flat a little bit further than what I was fishing. Fished on that, and from that point, I have literally had a fish every single chuck for 2 hours. Like ridiculous, putting a blob of sloppy pellets in, piece of corn on the hook, every single cast I've had a fish. Like beyond a joke. In under with fish from £2 to £7 or £8. Probably my biggest, but literally I'm catching one every couple of minutes. It was absolutely ridiculous. Last hour they were a little bit funny, but then I swapped my top get line to meat and I could drop on that and catch 2. Sometimes skimmers, but I'd catch like a big carp and then a skim, whatever else, and I could just feed that, big pop me edge, catch a couple short, go back down the edge, catch another 3 really fast. And it literally went like that until the last 10 minutes. For the last 10 minutes didn't catch one just because I didn't. They were in my peg, I just never got a bite. But I had a silly day. And then packed all my gear up, waited ages. They have there the best weighing in process I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, it's the maddest fishery. The lads rock up with the waders on, get in your peg and they weigh the fish in the water. Your fish never leave the lake. It's crazy. They swim all the fish down your keep net, put them in like 30 odd pound a time in the lake. I mean, and weigh all your fish. It is brilliant and so efficient the way you do it. It's mega there. And then after many, many weighs, I ended up with 275 pounds something, which I thought I had a proper day. Like I didn't know what I had. I just knew I had lots because it was just a nice, I put 4 nets in and just split your fish. So brilliant, chilled out one. And yeah, 275 pounds, sorry. Mega, mega day. And that turned out to be enough to get me in the Maver. So that's me, season is now complete. I'm happy now. If I get in a golden reel, great, but I can't ask for any more than that. So it fished its nuts off. Either side of me, there was 120, 130, I think it was 160, was second in the match further up. It is just a phenomenal, phenomenal venue. I wish it was a bit closer. It's a 5-hour journey home, wasn't very nice at all, but the campaign is going phenomenal, and yeah, we're loving it. Golden reel next, and then I can retire. Or maybe I'll have to sit behind Andy and get him through. I think that's the next thing to do, but we'll see.